What's going on, guys? This is Al B back with another video. Today, I'm going to show you guys how to make amazing drum patterns in seconds. No cap included. I'm going to be showing you guys how to use Playbeat version 3 by Audio Modern. Now, you may have heard of Playbeat before. Obviously, this is the third version. They brought some good features and some good updates to it. I'm excited to show you guys. This is going to be a good way to get the creativity flowing, guys. This is a good way to create some funky drum patterns and kind of keep from making the stale, same old drum patterns that most listeners come to expect. A good way to add some bounce to your track. I'm going to jump into FL Studio and show you guys how I use it in my tracks, and then I'm going to step through and show you more details about the features and the functionality of the plugin. Without further ado, guys, this is Al B. Let's get into it. Yes, sir. All right, guys, here we have it. Playbeat version 3 from Audio Modern. If you've seen the previous versions of this plugin, then you can tell they've added a lot to it. You have a lot more parameters and functionality. Before we get into that, I'm going to let you guys hear a sample that I'm using today, and then I'm going to let you hear what Playbeat did on top of my sample, so you guys can really kind of get an idea for the power of this thing. Here's my sample. So you can hear it actually added a good bit of bounce to the track already out the gate. Now, I'm not gonna front, this wasn't from just me randomly generating everything and that's what came out of it. It was me randomly generating the pattern once or twice, and then when it sounded pretty good, I'll go back in and I tweak different settings to make it fit just how I want it to fit inside of the track. So there's always gonna be some element of you having to go and touch it some. So don't be fooled by people talking about AI is going to make it where you can make a beat with one button. No, it's not. The human element of music is what makes it music. So that's a whole nother conversation. We'll come back to that. But anyway, that's what I did with Playbeat on top of that sample. So let's talk about the different functions in here and how you even use this thing, right? A lot of buttons here. In the middle, the first thing that's going to jump out to you is this big button. Now, this is just a randomization button. When you hit this button, it's going to randomize all of the different individual settings. And when I say that, I mean it's going to randomize the steps, it's going to randomize the density of those steps, the pitch of those steps, the flam, the volume, and the pan of those steps. Let me show you what I mean. If I just hit this button, boom. Well, in that case, it only randomized it for channel 1 because I have this one selected. Let me select all. And now when I hit the random button, it's going to randomize all of these parameters for all of these channels. Boom, you can see the steps change. If I come over to density, let me do it again so you can see it. You can see that the density of some of these is random too, but I like to keep my density at 1. But you can see when I hit this middle random button, it randomizes all of my settings. Now, when it comes to density, for me, I don't like it being stacked or tripled or anything like that. So I always set mine to 1 and I turn this fixed knob on, and you know it's on when the knob is facing toward the fixed side, right? And that way, all of my steps will have a density of 1. I don't like how it sounds with densities of 2 and 3 unless I'm looking for something very specific. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to change the density of this step to 3. Let me solo out my kick drum. Heard that? Right, so I don't really like that triple hit. I don't really have a lot of use for that in the music that I make. So I usually set my density down to 1 and I make sure fixed is on. So all of my steps will just have a density of 1. Right, that sounds better to me. When you come over to pitch, you have the same type of thing going on, right? Except just with pitch. I can change the pitch of each individual step. I can pitch it up or pitch it down, or you can keep it right in the center at C3, and you can set it to be fixed so that all of your samples are right there at C3 for every step. If you want to have some kind of a range, then you just toggle this back to the right and you set your minimum and you set your maximum, And then when you randomize the pitch, I'm going to pick on channel 1 again. When you randomize the pitch, then you can see the pitch just changes across the whole channel. Again, I usually keep mine at C3, keep it fixed, and we good to go. But if you want to pitch your hi-hats, or you want to do like a snare roll or hi-hat roll, that's a case when pitch will be very useful. And this is going to pretty much be the same story for the flam, for the volume, and for the pan. You're going to have a setting that you can set it to be fixed at for every step, or you're going to have a range where you can have it choose between the range minimum and the range maximum when you randomize. And if you just want to randomize this one setting, you hit the dice icon right here. All right. So that's kind of the main way that you use it. You can randomize all channels. You can randomize all settings at one time, or you can randomize one channel and one setting at a time. There's flexibility in how you do it. And this is how you kind of shape your pattern. You randomize it a couple times, and once you get something close to where you want, you start tweaking these settings and kind of honing it in and kind of getting it closer to what you're looking for. All right, so another big feature here is the actual mixer. So you can actually mix right here inside of the sequencer and kind of get an idea for what it's going to sound like when you go to the real mixing process in your track. If you're trying to choose which sounds you're using and change that out, you just click right here where it says kick for me, and this is going to pull up the browser. Now the browser is actually a pretty good browser for what it's worth. Most people don't think browsers are that important, but they are in your workflow. You can add your own custom folder. So I have my custom sound kit stash. I have it added here, and you can browse through your sound. So let's say I'm looking for a kick. I come to my kicks folder, and I can audition the kicks right here from the browser. And say you find one that you like, you can simply click it, drag it into the channel. In my case, my kicks are in channel 1, so that's where I'm going to drop it. A beautiful thing about this is that you can actually navigate right here instead of having to click and drag every sample when you're trying to figure out which one you want to use. So let me show you, for example. I'm going to solo out my kick, and then I'm going to just go through the kicks. And once you find what you're looking for, you can kind of just, you can call it a day. I like this Hood Baker, so I'm gonna drag that back in. But you can see that can be helpful, so you don't have to keep clicking and dragging. Once you find what you like, you can drag it over, and that'll be set for your new sound. And you can also favorite your different sounds, so that when you go to make a beat and you're trying to do it quickly, you can just hit favorites and it'll pull up any of the samples that you have favorited. Makes it really easy to find what you're looking for, find, you know, your favorite ones, and keep reusing them. So that's super helpful. If you want to actually locate the sample on your computer, you can just hit this little map icon right here. And in my case, I'm on Windows. It'll pull up the window and show you where that sample sits on your hard drive. Let's come out of this. So that's pretty much it for the browser, for the sample browser. Another really cool thing about this plugin is that you can actually do a lot with it live. So if I hit this button here, it kind of brings me to this live view where it's really helpful if you're trying to say tap out your drums live with your MIDI controller. You can do that here from the sample trigger section. And to map your MIDI controller, you would hit your settings icon, and then you can kind of come in here and play with your MIDI mappings and be able to map your controller directly to Playbeat, which is really helpful for those of you who like to make beats live, who like to drum live or do live, any kind of live performances. This is going to be a helpful thing for you. Of course, you can save your favorite presets right here. You just click up here and you save them. If you find a good drum pattern that you like and you want to save that, not only will it save the actual MIDI data, it will save the mixer data, it will save the actual samples that you chose. So it's going to save your pattern just as you have it. That's a good way to have some like starter packs, if you will, so that if you're trying to just get a beat started really quickly and you already have your sample or melody, you can come choose your own custom pattern that you have saved and get things going a lot quicker. I'm still working here off of the beta version, guys, but once the actual official release comes out, you're going to be able to choose between different genres, which is going to be clutch. I'm really excited to see how these different genres sound, but I already know that they're going to be fire. So when you download it, you'll be able to choose between hip hop, Afrobeat, techno, lo-fi, whatever you're going for. There's probably going to be a genre in here, and it'll just get you started, and you'll have a set of presets to choose from in that genre. So I'm looking forward to that, which is going to choose the sound and also the kind of the bounce of that particular genre is going to fit based on what you selected. Another really big piece of this is the export options that you have. So when I click on this export button here, it's going to pull up the stems in both wave and MIDI. So I can drag out the stems from just one channel, right? Or you can drag out the stems for the whole drum loop. And this is a really easy way to create drum loops, whether you want to do individual drum files for every sound, or you want to do just one drum loop file that has all of the drums in it. So that's going to be really powerful for those of you who like to make drum kits or drum loop kits. Also, you can just export the MIDI of individual channels or the MIDI of all of the channels. Okay, so that's also going to be really clutch. You can just drag it right on over, drop it into whatever channel you want to in your DAW, and there you have the MIDI that you created inside of Playbeat. So that's going to be really helpful as well. All in all, guys, this is a great plugin. There have recently been some other companies who have made some drum generators that are really expensive and not really worth it in my opinion. I'm not going to name no names, but Audio Modern is a very reputable company. They have a lot of good plugins. You've seen me review some of their other plugins on my channel before. Playbeat is going to be reasonably priced. I don't know the exact price yet, but from what I'm hearing, it's going to be very well priced for what you can do with it. Something I suggest you guys check out. I'm going to leave a link in the description as well as do a pop-up on screen. All right, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so I can keep bringing you guys this good content. Until next time, this is Al B, and we are out. Yes, sir.